Auburn added a new transfer, and I'm not sure that it makes sense.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Happy Charlie Tuesday to all who celebrate. We're joined by Auburn message board legend, the Charlie5. He's also the host of the Top Button Podcast. Vegas is low on Auburn with some lines that came out yesterday. We're not buying it. And also a new point guard could be on his way. But first things first, the man of this news cycle, Akron offensive tackle transfer, Ronan Chambers, flips from Tulane to Auburn yesterday. And a move that makes sense, I guess, from a depth standpoint, but I don't think this was like the best move that this coaching staff could have made. Charlie5, this is a guy who I don't think is going to play. He might be a part of the rotation, maybe part of depth, but he's only got 1 year left of eligibility. The timing from the eligibility standpoint, it almost seems like a waste to me.
So let me ask you this, Zach. What would you, at your 78th player on your roster, like what else can you add at this point in time as your 78th player? You still got 6 spots left to fill.
Yeah.
Who is the backup right tackle? Like, we know who the backup left tackle is. We know Tyler Johnston. Who's the backup right tackle? I don't think we have one.
I would.
Can you name another? Can you name another offensive tackle?
I mean, I would guess it's Seth Wilfred, the JUCO kid.
Maybe it's Seth Wilford, but he's got 3 years left to play. And this is a guy. Look, I'm not saying, I know I can pull out the book and I can make everything sound good, but it's just like this is the 78th or 79th player on your roster. You don't really have a backup right tackle. You only have you only really feel good about Tyler Johnston after the first 2 guys. I'm not saying this guy's going to change the world. He's worth a win, but he may be somebody that could be serviceable in the by chance there's just a incredible rash of injuries and you got scholarships to fill. I don't know. I think
it would have to be an incredible run of injuries for him to play substantial stats.
It would have to be a substantial run of injuries.
I think they'd be more likely to either move Percy Lewis around and move Dylan Wade back to tackle, I think, before he plays, because you have depth at guard, like you discussed.
Another thing, though, typically backup offensive linemen are your special teams guys. That's your field goal team. That's your punt team. A lot of times those guys fill in on your special teams guys, so you don't have to have Percy Lewis out there setting the edge on a 45-yard field goal. You got this guy he may not be left tackle in the SEC good, but he may be good enough to let Percy Lewis not have to go out there and do that, or Xavier Miller not have to go do that. So again, if you're talking about your 40th player on the roster, okay, I get it. But like literally this is your 78th player on the roster. I don't hate adding a guy that's got 3 years of playing experience. He's played at Auburn, I think. I think he played against us under Harsin. So
I just don't like the lack of upside. I guess there is a floor there, but to me, when you tell me 78th guy on the roster, which we agree. I mean, I think Ronan Chambers, great name, but he is probably the 78th guy on this roster. And to me, I'd rather them go out and do the Dylan Cinda thing again, where it's a last ad. It's like, well, at least Dylan Cinda can turn into an eventual player. It's just this guy's getting to campus late. He doesn't get to go through spring just because of the timing of it. There's not an obvious path to playing time, unless injuries are a big part of what happens to Auburn throughout the fall, which of course we don't want that to happen at all. And even then, I think you got to have 2 or 3 guys go down before he really gets a shot. I just don't really get the upside of it. And I don't know
I don't know that this is meant to have upside. I don't know that this addition is meant to have upside. Hugh said that ideally he likes to carry 16 offensive linemen. And I think this is 15. I think this makes 16. This makes 16. Right. We had 15 before this. So like if all we're doing is helping special teams, and then you got emergency guy in there that's there in case, tragedy strikes, you know what I mean? And like 3 or 4 guys go down. Yeah. I don't think a lot of additions at this point have to be upside guys. I think they could just be literally role fillers. When you're talking 78, 79 through 85. So, and again, and I don't even really know how close we're actually going to get to that 85. I don't even know if that 85 number
seems a long way away, doesn't it?
Is attainable anymore, to be honest, in the era of the portal. So I don't think everybody you add at this point in time has to be upside. Like that's the guy that's going to make us, at this point in time with what's available in the portal, I don't think you're adding guys at this point in time. It's going to help you win games. It may be adding guys that may help you not lose games in case of, injuries or things like that. But again, a lot of backup offensive linemen play special teams. Like that's a big thing on field goal team for those dudes. I mean, it's nothing but linemen. So if you're short one guy, I mean, again, it doesn't excite me. It doesn't excite me like in the least. But again, it's not like he's taking the role of somebody when you got 6 spots. He's not taking the role of somebody that could make the team a little bit better. And I think we're still obviously going to add a few more guys. But when you got spots to fill, why not fill it with a guy that's got 4 years of college experience? He can help you out a little bit on special teams, maybe even some leadership stuff. Not going to change the world, not going to like set the world on fire, but who knows when he could come in handy.
Well, I think not every portal edition needs to be exciting, but I do think there needs to be a path to like, okay, well, how can this roster spot be useful? I'll give you the special teams thing, maybe, and that could be something that we track throughout the season. But now you look at it, these are the offensive linemen. You mentioned Auburn has 16 scholarship offensive linemen now. But 7 or 8 of them are going to be gone after this season. Percy Lewis, Jeremiah Wright, Jaden Muskrat, Tate Johnson, Xavier Miller, Dylan Wade, and Ronan Chambers. So 7. And to me, I think there's going to be other offensive linemen out there that their offer list is Tulane and Utah State that have multiple years left of eligibility. That's just kind of where I'm at with it. Unless they want to just totally reload the offensive line after the season, which that may be part of it. Because right now, if you're reloading the offensive line after the season, your offensive line with projected playing experience is going to be Connor Liu and maybe Tyler Johnson, depending on how much playing time he gets. Like that's going to be it.
Yeah, and I know you're trying to bring in at least 6 freshmen. You know what I mean? So it's not a terrible thing if you bring in a guy.
If they want to just totally reload it and just open up scholarships, sure, I guess. Yeah.
And then just try to fill holes of guys that you think you got to go get to be starters right away. Again, I just this is my thing. It makes to me where it makes no sense is from Ronan Chambers' standpoint. That's the point that it makes 0 sense unless somehow he must have either been making negative money at Akron or Tulane, and whatever we had to offer is a good offer, or just to put Auburn on your resume. I don't really know, but to me, that's where it makes negative sense. Like it makes absolutely no sense to go from a starter to you will probably more than likely not play. You'll play 4 or 5 snaps a game, possibly at special teams. That's where it doesn't make a lot of sense to me is on his side. From Auburn's side, it's kind of like it's like a no lose situation, because there's nobody out there right now that's going to make your offensive line better from like a top end standpoint. You're just adding dudes to kind of fill and possibly be backups. But I'm like, Ronan, I mean, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you to be here. I don't get it, but I'm happy for you to be here.
Well, how about this though? And this is just kind of shows where we are now as a program versus a few years ago. If this guy would have transferred here, Brian Harson's second year, maybe even Freeze's first off season, we'd be stoked. We'd be talking about how this guy can make the offensive line better.
Zach, you were talking to me right now. The title of this podcast is "We Just Brought in an Offensive Lineman, and I Don't Get It." We have reached a new level.
Yes,
we have reached a new level. Usually, like you said, we'll take dudes off the street. Like anybody that's north of 6'3" and close to 300 pounds. Like, come on, we got to have bodies because we couldn't totally pay people.
If this would have happened 3 years ago, we'd be like, this guy's got an NFL frame.
Yeah,
this guy's going to make our offense
long. Better. Hey, underrated. Look at his arm length.
Yeah,
long.
He's gained like 40 pounds since he showed up at Akron.
Forget the PFF grade. Like, you don't understand. This guy's got potential.
Oh man, yeah. Maybe that's how we should have led with this. It's like Auburn added an offensive lineman, and it doesn't matter. We're not that phased by it. So whatever. Hey, but I hope everything works out.
We would have had like 1 week worth of shows about how Auburn's turning the offensive line around.
Can Ronan Chambers change the culture of Auburn football? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Most important signee in the decade.
Oh man. Feels good, man. Feels good. Yeah. Oh, perspective. Thank you, Ronan Chambers, for allowing us to see what we have. Thank you. Go Zips. All right. Vegas, I think they're way down on the Auburn Tigers. We'll discuss in just a moment. Right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show, Charlie5, is brought to you by America's number one sportsbook. Can you imagine?
Nope.
Wagering anywhere other than FanDuel?
I will not do it. I will not allow myself to imagine.
Makes me mad to think about it.
Almost
there are people out there that do. Well, thank you for understanding the intent there. It's winner take all time in the NBA, in the NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a win of your own. Guess right now, Charlie5, new customers, guess how much they get in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet?
Please tell me. I'm on
$150. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, futures, which we're about to talk about, all at FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every playoff shot count. FanDuel is America's number one sportsbook. Charlie5, when you look at some of the lines that dropped for the upcoming football season, there were 5 games that Auburn was involved in. We're going to talk about one of them today because I don't want to run through a full week's worth of shows. Just being totally honest. There was 2 that really shocked me, and I'll talk about the second one that really shocked me on tomorrow's show, unless we get another like 4th-string offensive lineman. Then we'll talk about that first, and then we'll talk about it. But
I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Sure.
Keep going.
Texas A&M is a 3-point favorite when they come to Auburn late in the season. And to me, that's just ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd to me. When you look at this weird rivalry that's happened just this offseason, when it comes to player acquisition between Auburn and Texas A&M, one, it's a mass exodus from Aggie land. It's like nobody at College Station was there a year ago, including the head coach. And they lose a bunch of key names on the defensive line, including Walter Nolan, and then Isaiah Rakes goes to USC, and now he's at Auburn. And then there are 2 guys that they've really pursued at A&M to be number 1 wide receivers for them, Cam Coleman and Keandre Lambert-Smith. Where are they? They're here. They're here. Right. The game's being played at Auburn. Auburn's defensive coordinator was just at Texas A&M. That's going to have some extra juice on it. You just know that's going to happen. You go and get Isaiah Rakes to come be a part of your defensive line. And to me, the history of this rivalry, it's kind of been featured. Okay, well, Texas A&M has just been able to recruit the trenches way better than Auburn has, and it showed up. That's not the case with this year's matchup. And I just have a hard time seeing why Texas A&M opens as a 3-point favorite over the Auburn Tigers.
I'm with you. I'm really struggling to kind of put my finger on where is the mismatch? Where's the mismatch? And on top of it, like they're trying to go for, it looks like they're trying to really go get Javarius Johnson. So like they're looking to upgrade their wide receiver core with, an Auburn wide receiver that left. So I'm with you. You got new coach, you got new everything, and you had a unbelievable loss of 5-star safeties, 5-star linemen, 5-star everybody. And then, like you said, Cam Coleman on top of it. Like I'm really trying to understand where that line comes from. I mean, I know these guys don't do it for free. Like they're not giving away money, but I'm tempted to go slam, Auburn money line at home. In general, I think at home it makes us a better team, but
yeah,
I just think we're going to be better this year in general. So I'm really struggling with that one too, and I can't quite figure that one out.
To me, once again, A&M has been solid against Auburn because of being able to recruit the trenches. And it's just not there, man. It's just not there. They host New Mexico State the week before they play Auburn. So that's not going to be a big deal. But you know what I do think is a big deal when you look at Texas A&M's schedule? And they're not going to agree with this. But you know they're concerned about Texas. Their first battle with Texas A&M versus Texas.
SEC battle.
For the first time. The SEC showdown between Texas A&M and Texas. That's the week after Auburn. And I just refuse to believe that's not going to impact this game because Texas A&M is little brother. They are little brother to Texas. And this is going to be a big opportunity for them because honestly, Texas is probably going to boat race them. Probably.
Yeah, already.
Yeah. And that's just going to be weighing on their mind. And we'll see. I mean,
look,
they've got a tough schedule too, by the way. Like, they'll play Missouri. They play LSU. We'll see what happens with South Carolina. Pretty low on them. But to me, I don't get it. I don't get how you could possibly think that Auburn will not be the favorite once game week is here. Once that game week is here, I think Auburn will be the favorite at kickoff.
Here's another thing is like rosters aren't even finished yet. Like, how do you even put out a line when rosters aren't in general, when rosters aren't finished yet?
I'm thankful that they did though. I'm thankful that they did.
For sure. Definitely talking points, but let the first 3 or 4 games go by and things may be different. Obviously, that line's obviously going to change, but again,
sure.
I really, really don't get it. I mean, last year's game, it never really felt as bad as Auburn was. It never really felt like it was really out of hand until, you had a couple of turnovers.
Did you say filt? It never really felt like?
I think I was going to say filled, and it didn't fit in that sentence, and felt at the same time. So I just went with filt.
Yeah. Okay.
New word, filt. It never felt like we were going to lose that game until you had a couple of turnovers. So I wasn't even that impressed with the matchup last year.
Right.
So again, is Connor Wigman going to go through a season where he's not going to get broken? Like, is he going to finish a year? Everybody talks about how great he is. Can he finish a season? And we play him late in the year. So who knows what could happen between now and then, but I'm like you.
Fizzle out. Right.
I don't get it. That's one of the games too. You got to win. Like Auburn's probably got circled as a toss up, or you feel good about as one of those possibly get you to 8 or 9 wins.
I felt good about it.
I felt great. I feel great now. I'm filled up.
I mean, you careful. I think I think you could argue that A&M is like a top 3 important game for Auburn.
Yeah, circle it.
I think Oklahoma's up there. I think the road game to Kentucky is up there, and I think A&M at home is up there. Oklahoma is up there. I mean, those are all kind of, competing for those top few spots because you got to win them because they're toss-up games. And I think A&M at home is the most winnable of those 4 games that I just mentioned.
Easily. It's a toss-up even then between them and Oklahoma, like which one could be more of it. But they're both at home.
But I think Oklahoma's roster makes sense. A&M's roster doesn't make sense to me right now.
No, I mean, you're just hoping you got stuff left. And I don't even really know exactly what they've added in the portal that's made a ton of noise in general. Obviously not a ton because they're trying to add Keandre Lambert-Smith as basically their number 1 guy in the wide receiver room. later, in the spring portal, and obviously we took him away. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm with you. I really don't understand it.
Right. New point guard may be coming, and that's exciting. We talk about why in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Charlie5, I have one question for you. Why do you have a phone?
Honestly, to make sure my wife can get in touch with me, number one, and then number two, Monopoly Go.
That's it. You can download Monopoly Go for free right now. Sure, 1A, 1B, Monopoly Go, 100%. Monopoly Go is great because you can team up with friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards, and the more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so many different things you can unlock within the game. But the most important thing you can unlock, fun. Monopoly Go feels new and exciting. It feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges until they include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or all sorts of different things. So there's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. Go get off the bench and download it now in your phone's app store for free. Monopoly Go, game on. Charlie5, Auburn basketball could be getting UTSA guard Jordan Ivy Curry, which screams elite name. It's a great name.
Steph Curry's first cousin. I just made that up, but could
not
be.
True.
Could be.
We can act like it. That's fine. That's fine. Icy Curry. I mean, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
First time he makes a three or multiple threes in a row. Are you kidding me? No, he's going to visit Auburn later this week. I think it's Thursday is what I read. And Auburn's up there with is UCF and Wake Forest.
Wake Forest.
Yeah. It's okay. Come on. And I like Wake Forest, but come on. To me, this would be an awesome situation for a backup guard, but he's got 1 year left of eligibility. So it's does he want to be a backup, in his final year? That's probably the thing that he's having to wrestle with right now.
When this name first popped up, obviously you go look at his record, his stats and everything, and you're like, this makes absolutely no sense for him to come to Auburn. This is a fourth year. I mean, technically a fifth year guy. He'll be a fifth year guy, shoots close to 40% from three, scores 17 points a game. And then you look and he started, you know how many games he started last year? Started out of
I don't know. Tell me.
0.
Oh, really?
0 games, but he played 27 minutes. Let me tell you how that works is because this kid plays 1 through 3. He can play anywhere on the court. So this is not just a backup point guard. This is a guy that could play any of the guard positions and score at an extremely
6'3". I mean, he's got the size to do more than just play the one.
Yeah, exactly. He could score at a multitude of positions. This was a guy who's used to coming off the bench and then sort of, I'll go play wherever you tell me to play. I don't have to just come be the point guard. I can go play shooting guard if somebody gets in foul trouble. I can play a little bit of 3, play 27 minutes a game off the bench. That's hard. I can't even really figure out how that math works, but I think it's something special. A dude that's got a bunch of different skill sets. Again, 38% from 3, a great free throw shooter, great scoring at the rim. Big, can get rebounds, 17 and 5 a game. He can play a little bit. He can play a little bit of everywhere from that 1 through 3. Multifaceted. You really don't have a true backup 3 behind one that you can just say, okay, that's my legit backup to Chad Baker-Mazar. Maybe this guy can give you 5 minutes at 3, shooting 40% from 3. And then, you fill in Chris Moore, Ja'Kai Howard, those guys. I don't know. This is a very intriguing prospect to me. It didn't make sense from his perspective to me at first, but now the more I dig, I think it makes a lot of sense. And it could give you a very intriguing guy, a taller guard that could play a multitude of positions and be able to score from a lot of different ways.
It just depends what's important to him, right? And we've talked about this before.
Exactly.
The transfer portal is a different animal just because you don't know the list of priorities for some of these guys. Is he wanting to transfer because he just wants to be at a bigger stage and he wants to compete for a championship? Then Auburn's probably in a really good spot. But does he want to transfer away because he wants to be the guy? That's, we just don't know. We don't know. I think it was on 3. I think it was Auburn Live, or it may have been Hoke specifically, that said that there was a Zoom call over the weekend between Auburn and
they got a visit scheduled, like a legit visit.
Jordan Ivy Curry. But I think Hoke said that they also he also talked with Kansas too, which is always a good sign.
Yep.
So you take that. You certainly take that, but I like it. And the fact that you've kind of sold me on the fact that, he hasn't started before. He may just be okay with that mentality, because I think that's kind of Pearl's whole thing is, like, if you're on the roster at Auburn, you're going to play.
If you're good, you're going to get minutes.
Right.
Yeah, if you're good, you're going to get significant minutes. And I don't know. I does again in the portal life, the portal, reality, you typically want the first visit. So we are getting the last visit out of these 3. So I think he's going to either Wake Forest or Central Florida first, then the other one second, and then he's coming here. So you kind of are waiting, hoping he doesn't end it before he gets to you. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But again, I was weirded out from his perspective. Like, why would you want to do this? But the more and more I look into it, man, he could be a super exciting ad, especially after you miss out, at least for now, on Duke Miles. And then this is your consolation prize. Holy cow, give it to me.
I don't know if this is worse. It's just different.
It's different. There's so many good guards. There's so many guards that can play, man. The college basketball is full of dudes that can shoot threes and run, and this is just another one of them.
Yeah. So we'll keep you updated on Jordan Ivy Curry, set to visit Auburn later.
Steph Curry's first cousin.
We're not saying that's true. We're just saying it. Charlie5, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Absolutely. Find me on Twitter, _Charlie_5, in the Locked On Auburn Discord every single day, or Tuesdays and Thursdays on the Top Button Podcast.
Yes, please like the video. Please subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow. This has been Locked On Auburn.